The most interesting thing I learned this course was the fact that there are so many different ways to measure corruption. This was surprising, possibly because I didn't know the whole variety of ways in which corruption takes place. Corruption in business, in high levels of government, in civil service, although similar in its roots, all have different ways of occurring and have different consequences and impact different aspects of society, even when on the long run society will be affected as a whole. These different ways of corruption have different ways of measurement. It is not the same to measure corruption based on perception or based on participation, just as it is not the same with measures emitted by experts or measures that come from the general population. All, all these different measurements are useful for different purposes, and you should use the one that best suits your interests. But I think that whenever possible, we should try to find ways in which these indices complement each other and make the analysis as complete as it can be. Another thing I found very interesting in this course was definitely Marianne Bertrand's article on unsafe drivers. I knew corruption had effects on many different aspects of society, but I was unaware that it was a potential threat to the well-being of a specific society. I guess I always saw the effects of corruption in economic growth and income gap, inefficiency of the authorities, and impunity, but I never thought about the actual physical consequences of allowing corruption to happen. As a result of participating in this course, I developed the ability of critical thinking. When analyzing newspaper articles, it's not enough to stay on the facts. You must go beyond and make a cross-section analysis that gives a better understanding of the situation. It is not enough to know who was involved in corruption, but rather what was he or she after. What consequences will this have on the short run and on the long run? And what allowed these actors to behave like that? Was it a failure in the system, or was it something that was caused by the individual's personality? It is good to know what happened, but to question why it happened and the possible consequences can have a better result. Questioning the information that is given and demanding more accurate data can lead to more transparency and accountability, since it is not easy to, to feed the population incomplete or biased information. Critical thinking is not just relevant when reading newspaper articles. It was also used when reading the book by Susan Rose Ackerman, when reading the articles, when reading my classmates' comments, or when seeing their video blogs. Every time you had to face any sort of information, you had to question and analyze it. So I think that critical thinking was a skill that was highly developed throughout this course, and that if it is transferred outside the course, it can have many benefits. I would definitely recommend this course to other students, not just to economic students or students with an interest in social sciences, but to everyone, especially when corruption is a problem that has spread out so much and that is currently interfering with everyday activities. It is difficult to find a sector that is not tainted with corruption in some level, whether it is grand corruption or petty corruption, nepotism, cronyism, or other ways of corruption, but the sense that something is unfair or that something is not being done right is recurrent. And if everyone knew exactly what corruption was, what cost it imposes on society, and the consequences it has, maybe everybody will think twice before engaging in corruption. I realize it's not a plausible solution right now because you have to have interest in the subject to in order to learn it, in order to make an effort to understand it. But in the meantime, who is interested in this issue can benefit greatly from this course, so I highly recommend it.